Hey guys, it's Dan, your host, your Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back for another video for today. This one's going to be doing another video for the Walking Dead universe. We're going to be doing a Q&A video after episode 4 of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. We're also going to talk about the wasted potential, in my opinion, of the variant walkers slash the Pouvoir group in Daryl Dixon Season 2. Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today. This one's going to be doing a review for The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol, Season 2. We're going to be talking about the crazy event in Episode 4, which of course, you know, if you guys haven't seen Episode 4 yet, make sure to go ahead and watch it before watching this video. I had some comments of people saying in yesterday's video, they're like, oh, you spoiled Episode 4 of Daryl Dixon. I'm like, well, you should have watched it before watching the video. So, I don't know, but I guess I should feel the need now to say, if you haven't seen the episode, we are going to spoil things in this video. So, anyway, let's get into this now. So, I am very, just impressed, honestly, by the fashion that they took out, spoiler warning, Madame Genet. And Madame Genet is a character that, honestly, I thought was very interesting throughout the first 2 seasons. She had a very big arc. Obviously, we had her backstory last week, which I thought was, very interesting. And this week, we get to see her downfall. We get to see her go down. And I wanted to discuss that minorly before we get into some of your Q&A videos, because I do think, as amazing as Madame Genet's death is, and I think it's the most creative death they've done on the show, getting shot by the serum, and her, her face ripping apart, and the blood going everywhere, and stuff like that, it is easily one of the most gruesome deaths we've seen in The Walking Dead in a long time. And I thought it was a really well done death, and I thought it was a really exciting moment. However, I will say this at the same time, I don't know if I was the only one that got this vibe, but I felt a serious waste of potential the moment that I saw that moment. And the reason why I say that is because the main, threat of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon has been the idea of these variant walkers, the Pouvoir, that group, what they work for, what Genet is doing, and all that stuff. And ever since the end of Season 1, I can't really say I've been feeling the threat of the variant walkers. These walkers, these serum walkers in particular, I just didn't feel like they really focused on them enough in Season 2. And obviously, Genet is dead now, and obviously, all that stuff is done, and we're focusing on Lo Zhang and stuff, taking over the crew. So, I think I can successfully say this. Season 2 of Daryl Dixon has easily not shown as much as I thought they would have of the, the serum walkers. In Season 1, and I think the main reason why people enjoyed Daryl Dixon Season 1 so much is because it focused on the walkers to such a high degree, the walkers were the main focus. In Season 2 of Daryl Dixon, it very much feels like it's okay, they're background noise, but they're not as much of a big thing. I would argue the bigger threat of Season 2 of Daryl Dixon is Lo Zhang over Madame Genet, which I do enjoy Lo Zhang as a villain. I think Lo Zhang is a fun idea, but I will admit this. I do find it a little ridiculous that Lo Zhang managed to take over the Pouvoir group when he was a prisoner to the Pouvoir group. You know what I mean? And I don't know about you guys, but that feels like a massive plot hole. You mean to tell me that your prisoner that you have held captive in a frickin' cell, you're then going to go up to them and say, our leader's dead, so you mind leading us now? No, that would make no sense. It's as if Dwight, was captured by Rick's crew in Season 7, Episode 16, and Rick just looked at Dwight and he's like, yo, by the way, do you mind leading us? I'd be like, what? I don't know about you guys, but that scene felt very weird to me, honestly, and especially, sitting on that scene. That scene felt very odd. So, that's what's happening with the Pouvoir now, and that's why I say it's a waste of potential, is because I feel like Genet, for one thing, could have had a lot more to her character. I do feel like she was lacking a few pieces of, screen time. And I feel like they really should have gone into more of the motives, into what made them do these, super serum walkers, some of the science behind it, you know what I mean? I don't know about you guys, but I thought the Pouvoir, when I watched Season 1 of Daryl Dixon, was going to be, responsible for a portion of the frickin' outbreak or something. There was gonna be some major reveal, And I don't know about y'all, but I felt very underwhelmed with the fact that Genet just died in, an old couple's house. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm sure it probably sounds like I'm hating on the death, but here's the thing. I like the death itself, you know what I mean? I love the fact that she gets killed with her own creation. I think that's badass as hell. And I think the gruesome, element of her death is really great. The part of Janae's death that I don't understand is why, for one, it had to be in some random old couple's house. I would have picked a more exciting setting than that. And second off, that we didn't get any extra info on these, super serum walkers, like the science behind it, what it's about, what it's for, like how they created all this stuff. Like, they never went into any of that. And that's why I say it's a waste of potential, is because they could have went into that. They could have gone into that storyline. But instead, we focused on Lo Zhang and his prophecy with Laurent storyline. You know what I'm saying? Which, again, Lo Zhang is a really cool villain. Janae's death is a really good death scene. That's not what I'm saying. But there is a lot of problems when doing those two things. Because killing Janae in the way you did, it's a really anticlimactic location for her to die in. Also, I feel like there was more development for her character that you could have done. And I don't mean later on. I agree with Janae dying in episode 4. But I think that Janae could have had extra screen time earlier this season. And maybe not so much focus on Laurent and the prophecy storyline. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to present it in a way to where you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, I like Janae's death. I like Lo Zhang as a character, and I like him as a villain. But I don't appreciate the fact that we had to just really skip through a lot of stuff and barely even get to what Janae and her people were doing. There is so much more context I feel like we could have gotten on Janae, and so much more stuff that I feel like they could have shown us about what they're doing, why they're doing it, why they're trying to take over France in the way that they are. Like, they never ever went into all that, which I thought was kind of a necessary piece of the storytelling, you know what I'm saying? And instead, we focused on Laurent and Lo Zhang and the prophecy and stuff, which I don't think should have been priority over Janae and the, the Pouvoir and stuff, The Pouvoir is what made Daryl Dixon Season 1 so exciting, you know what I'm saying? And, what they're doing and what their whole role was and stuff like that. So, yeah, no, definitely. I think that Madame Janae's death is great. I think it's fantastic. But do I think it's a waste of potential? Yes. And in addition to that, and I will see where this goes, obviously, but I heard some comments of people saying that, man, that post-credit at the end of The Walking Dead World Beyond, yeah, feels like that just went nowhere, you know what I'm saying? And I could agree with that. So far, I do agree with that, because here's the thing. These are naturally fast walkers that we saw at the end of The World Beyond post-credit, right? And it was a French crew. It was the Pouvoir, And the Pouvoir is not doing any of that stuff anymore, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, the post-credit for World Beyond at this point kind of feels like they plot holed themselves, I can't lie. And, what I mean by plot hole really is that I feel like that sequence, that scene, is not exactly what they're doing here, Because that naturally, fast walker that we saw in the post-credit of World Beyond is not what we're seeing here. The naturally fast walkers don't exist. It's all serum walkers. Aside from that, the walkers are not fast. So, I don't know what happened with that. I don't know where that went, but it's weird to me because it feels like that's what they were setting up. The Pouvoir, the fast walkers, the naturally fast walkers. And so far, all we've had is serum walkers. So, that's probably done now too because the Pouvoir is not doing that anymore under Janae's, leadership. So, very, very weird. Very odd end to the Pouvoir, in my opinion, at least when it comes to what they stand for. I feel like there was a lot more they could have shared with us there, and I do feel a little underwhelmed. I think Janae's death is very well done, but I feel like there's a lot of pieces of the story that they kind of missed out on in doing her death in that kind of way. And that's why I'll never understand why we had to have a Greenland plot in the second episode of this season when we could have taken that episode to learn about Janae and learn about what she was doing and learn about, all that type of stuff. I feel like that's a necessary piece of the story that they just absolutely skipped out on. So, I don't know. Just my opinion, of course, but now let's get into some of your thoughts about episode 4 of Daryl Dixon. The first one comes from Ridicule, who says that, Dan, honestly, Isabel's death kind of reminds me of Beth's death on the original series. Stabs the villain, tries to, kind of hurt them, and then the villain kills them. Honestly, not going to view Lo Zhang the same anymore. Yeah, no. Isabel's death is absolutely ridiculous. It just felt so unnecessary for the story. It was also very, very fast the way they did it. It was not executed in a good way. And honestly, I mean, I've seen your guys' response to Isabel's death over the last couple days. I honestly have never seen such just a rage in the fan base in a while, honestly. At least until about, John Dory days when John Dory got shot off the bridge. I can't say I've seen a death be that, hated from the viewers. A lot of people being really angry about it and stuff like that. And I can't blame you guys, honestly, because Isabel is a character that really did make the show what it was, and they killed her in a bad way. And, you know, admittedly, yeah, Isabel's death, it may not be as stupid as what Beth tried to do to Dawn, but it is up there when it comes to, you know, a really bad timing of a good guy trying to kill the villain. You know what I'm saying? I do agree with that. She should have waited. She should have done something, but of course, they had to kill off her character, so they had to come up with some kind of way for that to happen. You know what I mean? Next one comes from Ridicule, who says that, Dan, do you think Daryl and Carol will eventually go to Japan for a future season of the show? Absolutely. This show, honestly, will be around for a long, long time. I've heard word of mouth, and again, this isn't confirmed information, but I've heard rumors of people saying that they're trying to get 8 seasons of this Daryl show out, which would not surprise me whatsoever, admittedly. They're already working on season 3. I've heard word of a season 4. Wouldn't shock me if we made it to 8 seasons, you know what I mean? As long as the ratings stayed, you know, somewhat sustainable, then honestly, I could see them doing it, yeah. But, you know, yeah, no, Japan, I would love to see Japan in the Walking Dead universe. I just wish it wasn't at the cost of Daryl not coming back to, you know, his rightful home. But, you know, they got to drag it out, of course. They got to do the spinoffs like Gimple wants them to do. So, what are you going to do? The next one comes from Keck, who says that, Dan, honestly, I am super done after this episode. This episode absolutely ruined the whole thing for them. They are canceling their AMC Plus after the next 2 episodes are done. Yeah, I don't blame you. Well, honestly, I would anyway. I mean, frig me. I mean, you know, like, unless you're watching anything else on AMC Plus, I mean, you know. But, no, I get what you're saying, though. Like, Daryl Dixon, yeah, no, it's to the point where some people are canceling their AMC Plus. Look, man, I'm going to be honest. I'm not that type of way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen people make some videos about Daryl Dixon season 2 where I'm like, holy crap, like, damn, you know, I really think this season is still solid in a lot of different areas. I think there are good things about this season. I think there's actually a lot of good things about this season, but there's also a lot of things about this season that I will agree with people that are not very good, and it's not anywhere close to the quality of season 1. I do agree with that 1,000,000,000%. And in terms of Isabel's death, I could tell it sucked the mood out of a lot of the viewers, as it did for me. Like, as soon as she died, my mood with the episode just died, honestly. I'll fully admit that. And, you know, it really didn't get back until they killed Janae. You know, aside from that, I felt like the episode just went downhill, admittedly. So, I don't know. That's just my opinion, of course, and it looks like I'm not the only one that, you know, feels that way. Isabel's death definitely affected the show in, a pretty bad way, it looks like, which is, yeah, very, very insane and stuff. And, you know, like I said, I mean, I get it. I do get it. It's a really uncalled for death, for sure. The next one comes from Ava, who says that, honestly, I really enjoyed the old people storyline this episode. I thought it was a really different thing for it, and hopefully we see more of that type of stuff in the franchise going forward. Yeah, you know, I'd love to say I agree, but, you know, of course, you guys know me. I'm always honest. I thought that was the stupidest storyline and the stupidest part of the episode, honestly. And look, I'll tell you why. Because of the fact that, you know, you get a major death like that for Isabel, right? And you get Daryl that's looking for Laurent, and he's in a panic, he's trying to find him. And then you randomly find these old people, and it's just like, oh yeah, let's just chill and have dinner with them. Like, I think for like, what, over 24 hours they're sitting there doing all that stuff? Like, yeah, no, honestly, it felt such like filler, it felt like such fluff. And honestly, I was so disappointed that that's where Madame Genet died. That just, to me, was like the most disappointing element, to be honest. I hope that they, you know, figure out a better way to deal with the rest of the Pouvoir, with Lozang, and, you know, the rest of, you know, those people and stuff like that that have teamed up. Hopefully they get killed in a way better setting, you know what I'm saying? But, like I said, I mean, this is something where I just don't understand why the hell we would see something like that. Like, old people, then this old man that turns on Daryl and Carol and then tries to, you know, turn them in, and he goes against his wife and stuff like that. It's just, it's so stupid. It was such a stupid scene. It felt like such filler to me, honestly. And you could have done anything else with our characters getting hunted by the Pouvoir, and you decided to go with Mr. Friggin' Wheelbarrow over here. I'll never understand it. But, yeah, no, really, really bad stuff there. Really, really bad. The next one comes from Father Daniel, who says that, Dan, honestly, the whole fake out of Rick came back, just fixing it to now blank came back, and you find out it's a feeling, not a person, was the most disappointing dialogue ever. They're just messing with us at this point. Yeah, they're definitely messing with us for sure. You know, the whole Rick came back, you know, and now you find out it's just a feeling came back, like, you know, like, what did she say? Like, I'm sick of, like, I'm sick, it came back, the sickness came back, like, who friggin' knows? Honestly, I'll tell you one thing right now. These writers know what they're doing. Gimple knows what he's doing. And honestly, Gimple, if you don't want to kill your franchise, give us Rick Grimes and Daryl reunion now. Honestly, like, not now, but do it soon. Work towards it, because I'm telling you, dude, like, people are going to give up. I mean, you heard a comment earlier, somebody's canceling their AMC Plus. Some people will have enough and just walk away. You think they won't, but they will. You know what I'm saying? People like me will not be doing that, because I'm loyal to The Walking Dead, and I'm, you know, I cover it, and I'm here for it, but not everybody's like me and is going to be able to tolerate all this stuff, you know what I'm saying? Some people will just get tired of it, and they'll move on, you know what I'm saying? And I don't blame those people at all, especially when you pull a fake out like this one, you know what I'm saying? Like, it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. And again, you know, it's not, I mean, I can't speak for the fan base, but it's not, you know, it's not because we want to hate on it. It's because we want to see it succeed. You know what I'm saying? So stop making it fail, you know, is the best way I could describe it. Because this franchise is very easy to make good. It's very easy to make good. And for a lot of times, it was good. And this franchise, I think right now, is kind of on its suffering type of, you know, storyline right now. You know what I'm saying? Where things aren't really as good as they once were. And I think that there is a way with better writing to fix that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just all about, you know, the proper writing. It's just about the proper direction. And honestly, there are ways to fix these mistakes. There absolutely are. But Gimple is not doing them, unfortunately, you know. It's times like this I miss Angela Kang, admittedly. I mean, I don't think Angela Kang is as good as some people make her out to be, but I think she would have made this franchise a lot better than this. I'll tell you that right now. Gimple knows how to showrun a show. He does not know how to showrun or he doesn't know how to be a chief content officer. He knows how to be a showrunner for the main show. He did good with that. He does not know how to be a chief content officer. That is for sure. And scenes like this, with this radio came back, is honestly proof of that to me. Absolutely. And the last one comes from Pappy, who says that, Dan, honestly, I'm starting to be a little suspicious that they're trying to just slowly but surely set up a relationship between Daryl and Carol. Maybe that's why they even killed off Isabel. I would hope the hell not, admittedly. I'm probably going to piss off some Daryl and Carol fans with that one. I never saw it, admittedly. Like, I may have seen it in the early seasons of the main show, but then they kind of didn't do anything with it, so I was like, okay, whatever, you know. I always view them as a brother and sister type of relationship. That's what I always kind of, you know, think of them as. I even think that's what the show was alluding to when, you know, you had Carol that said, like, yeah, Dixon is my brother, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it's like. I don't view it as a, you know, romantic thing. And admittedly, at this point, I'm getting a little drained on Daryl love interest at the same time. They just keep doing something stupid with them every time. They either don't amount to anything or they kill them off in a really lackluster way. Admittedly, I don't want Daryl and Carol to hook up together. I just don't want them to together. I don't think every show for the Walking Dead franchise needs to be the power of love, you know what I'm saying? They did it with The Ones Who Live, and it turned into the most unrealistic thing that the power of love takes on, like, you know, like several thousands, like, of soldiers, you know what I'm saying? So not every show needs a love, you know, driven story. And I don't think this Daryl and Carol spinoff needs to do that at all. I really don't think it's necessary. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you guys think that The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol, will eventually do a relationship with Daryl and Carol? I don't want to see it, but, you know, obviously I know there may be some people out there that do. So to each their own, of course, but I don't think it's a necessary thing. I think they should keep them as a brotherly bond and sister bond, and that be it. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of things, you know. What do you guys think of the radio communication? How disappointed are you about that? Let me know your thoughts on Isabel's death. Let me know your thoughts on Janae's death and stuff like that. All those big moments. And how do you feel about episode 4 of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon? So thank you guys for your comments. Thank you guys for the support. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, make sure to click to subscribe and tune up to any other videos of The Walking Dead. Make sure, of course, to follow me at Dan's The Walking Dead Reviews, guys, on Instagram, guys. And, of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos of The Walking Dead universe. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. Dan's reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected every plot twist beat. World gone mad, TV junkies need a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a street fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shedding TV light.